according to plan. Councillor's announcement and update, that's me. Can I just by saying that these are extraordinary times for all of us. I would like to express my sincere condolences for all of those who have suffered the loss through the coronavirus. And I'd just like to take a moment and would like to mention some of the local residents who gave so much for the community and who sadly lost their lives. Ken Brand was one of our council officers who, when I first became councillor, came to help to set up these food forum meetings with Bev. Sadly, he lost his life. Nassim Iqbal, she was the key worker at Reddit School. She was one of our key workers, and she used to bring all the children to when we had the Tyseley Open Day. And she was, a brilliant person. I mean, I personally went to night school with her when we were, living in the same area. She sadly lost her life as well. Mrs. Sophia Hanif, who was at the last meeting, you might remember when we had it at the Scouts Hut. She gave birth to a baby boy, and unfortunately, she lost her life. Safia Alam, she was the midwife. People's probably seen her on the news. She was a midwife. She was only 28. She lost her life as well. 6 people in our ward lost their lives in the care homes. So, of course, there must be many, many more that I can't mention, but my thoughts and prayers are with the families of all those ones. And I would like to just have that on the record, Bev, so that, we know about that. So, I mean, under these, circumstances, when this all started back in March, I started with, in my report, you will see all this, but I'll just, pick up some of the points. I started working with OSC's Hubmore Food Bank. Andy Brand led on that, from day one. Connect Church with the partners that, came in with their volunteers, and we collected the food from people. Some of the people in my ward, donated to the food bank, which was, really, I was really grateful. We had some food from the Active Wellbeing Society. Andy and his team worked brilliantly with the church. So in this Yardley sort of area, we distributed over 100 food parcels. We used to do it on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. From last week, we've just gone to Friday now, I think, because, the demand is still there. But, the food has, sort of the volunteers, some people had to go back to work, all sorts of issues. So I'm working still with the Active Wellbeing Society, Hamil's Foundation, Arts in the Yard. We got a COVID-19 group set up in Tyseley and Spark Hill and Hall Green. Yardley Connect was set up. So I'm part of all those groups working with, to deliver these services and to, make sure that everybody in our ward is looked after. Jesse's office was really great. Salma from Jesse's office, she helped. On the police front, I had a lot of inquiries about antisocial behaviour, drugs, all that sort of stuff. I've been talking regularly to Inspector Simon Graham, who's our inspector for the East, and the East Community Safety Partnership, which is led by Inspector Ahmed. I've been part of that. Sergeant Woolway, it's been great. Sergeant Mark Fellows, my 2 local sergeants on the ground, they've been exceptionally, every time I've rang them about something, emailed them, their team has been out there. So I'd like to thank them on while I'm on. Some of the issues that were raised with me over the last couple of months was, people needing food. So somebody's mic is on. Can somebody mute that? Okay. So some of the issues that were people needing food, people not getting the universal credit benefits, homelessness was another big one. Free school meal vouchers, people who are off school and we weren't getting the government had announced it, but the council had stepped in, so we gave those. Housing transfers were put on hold, and John Dunleavy, I worked with John all the way through this epidemic, and John himself at one point was suffering, and he still kept going at the weekends with me, answering my emails and my phone calls. So John, I would like to thank you on that personally. A lot of people who were homeless and the beggars you see on the Coventry Road had moved in from the city, because as the city was closed down, lot of people moved up the road to Small Heath and, onto the Coventry Road, and that's the ongoing problem at the moment. Sergeant Fellows had to deal with most of those cases. We had, some antisocial behavior. There was a house that they moved into, and, there was neighbors complaining, so we dealt with that. Fly tipping was another big issue. Oaklands, we had to stop the work on the Oaklands. So, these are all the sort of things I was dealing with. I've written some of the things in the report. And if people want to, if they haven't read it, or if they read it, or if they want to ask me any questions, I'm happy to take any questions now before I move on to the agenda to get my other speakers in. Any hands up? No? Okay. Notice. Okay, so we will move on to other news and updates. So Sergeant Woolway, can I bring you in? Because Sergeant Mark Fellows has been ill for the last couple of weeks and he's given his apologies. So I'm grateful that Sergeant Greg Woolway is here. So Greg, can I bring you on in, and if you can bring your, unmute yourself and put your camera on, and if you can come in, that'd be great.
Yep. Thank you, Councillor. I'm here.
Okay, over to you. Do you want to just give a bit of an update what you've been up to for the last couple of weeks, and then we'll take any questions from the residents?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Forgive me, they're already calling me on the radio, so I won't be able to stay for the full meeting. But obviously, I can give an update, and then any questions, and you can always fire some stuff into me via email if needs be.
Yeah.
So in terms of crime updates over the last couple of months, as you would expect, obviously crime was reduced during the coronavirus period. Frustratingly, we'd already started to see some real reductions in things like burglary between January and March already. We'd seen reductions each month compared to this time last year. So crime in general is down, which is good because we've been running on reduced capacity as a team over the last couple of months anyway. We're obviously quite a small team to start with, and then unfortunately due to COVID, we had a couple of staff members who had to shield themselves at home and a couple who were restricted in the police station. So we've been doing what we can, and it's been really good to see some of the stuff that's been going on in the community, and particularly over sort of Easter and just after. We were involved in, like yourselves, a lot of food bank and going out and visiting vulnerable members of the community. Morrison's in Acots Green Village were particularly good with donating food and Easter eggs and things like that we were able to get involved in going and dishing out. And we're now starting to see that we're able to get back to some sort of normality in terms of dealing with antisocial behaviour and some of the parking issues that clearly are on people's minds and what is important to them. So Fox Holly's shops in particular at the moment has been a hotspot where we've dished out plenty of tickets over the last couple of weeks. Unfortunately, people continue to park on the zigzags there. And then clearly we're finding new ways of doing things, like you are with this meeting. A lot of our meetings have been over Zoom and Skype. And we're finding new ways of doing things that I imagine going forward will become the new normal, really. So that's really in terms of crime where we're at. We've got Street Watch, which is going to be back up and running as of Monday. So Monday is our first early back for our next set, and we will be out with our Acots Green Street Watch group in the village. Clearly the shops are returning back to normality now as well, with all of them being open, so it's been particularly busy over the last weekend. If anybody's interested in getting involved in the Street Watch stuff, then obviously you can drop us an email and we can send you some more information about that. Same with WM Now. We're putting lots of messaging out via that and via Twitter in relation to the stuff that we're doing and our ongoing work. And that's about where we're at the minute. So unless anyone's got anything specific that they want to talk to me about or that I can take away and come back to you, then that's about it, really.
Thank you, Sergeant, for that. Are there any questions? Bob, did you have a question on, I think you raised it with me about the Pemley Road car vandalism or something in the last meeting somewhere. Is that still something something of a concern to you?
Yes, Jeff. All right, can you hear me? Yeah.
Yeah, you can come in now. You can talk to the side.
Okay, then, yeah. It's no, I mean you're aware of what happened to my car, which was reported on my works car, where basically the front end was stolen off the car in the middle of the night. But no, my concern was more about that's been going on around the area. Apparently, there's been about 5 in the same area, and there seems to be a lot of that going on around Pembrey Road. You know, car vandalism. I mean, I've been here 5 years. I've had my number plates nicked and windows smashed, and now the front end off the works car. But my main concern is probably with you, to do with you, Zaf. It's about the decommissioning of the CCTV.
Okay,
Now,
we'll ask that.
I know that's got to be done for legal reasons. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll ask that to John Dunleavy when he comes on. You know, that's to do with housing. So I'll bring that in. Okay, so just on Sarge, on the other one, you know, obviously Bob lives in Home Meadow and, you know, the Pembrey Road. You know, the CCTV cameras have, you know, disappeared from the blocks. That is the government guideline and we have to follow that. So, you know, there's a lot of concerns about, you know, the CCTV being removed and it's sheltered accommodation and people don't feel safe and all that sort of stuff. So it's just for your information that, you know, that's happening. There was a lot of car crime reported in that area. And since you put your team onto it, people have said to me that, you know, there is more presence from the police on that in Curtis Gardens and around the block. So, you know, they do feel a bit, but, you know, there is a big issue about CCTV cameras, which I'm bringing it up with other, you know, it's housing, not police. Anybody else got any points for the police?
Do you want me to just address that last point about that type of vehicle?
Please do.
So without knowing the full circumstances, I'm assuming that that's going to be a Vauxhall Corsa or Fiesta. Would that be right?
Yes, that's correct. It was a Vauxhall Corsa.
Yeah, okay. So it is something that we've had a few of them in ACOT screen. Unfortunately, it's a much wider problem. It's a national issue, really. It's happening all across the country. In the media, they've named it Corsa cannibals, and unfortunately, that type of vehicle, it would appear, is relatively easy to just start stripping at the side of the road. So we've had a few incidents in ACOT screen, but it's a much wider problem than that, unfortunately. So, and if I'm honest, other than either not having that type of car in the first place or making it as difficult as you can for people to try and steal bits off it, we're limited really as to what we can do around it. Like I say, it is a well-known issue that's been quite well publicised over the last couple of years. I know that doesn't really help you in terms of crime prevention advice, really, saying don't have a Vauxhall Corsa, but it would appear that type of smaller vehicle is just something that we've seen a few of, where they will break into it and then start stripping it outside the victim's house, which clearly isn't very good. I'm sorry that there's not really much more about it that I can say in terms of that.
Yeah, thank you, Sarge. Just for Sergeant Fellows is not here obviously today because he was off ill. So, you know, I've raised these points with him. You know, there's a lot of issues around Hay Mills area, like, you know, I've spoken about the beggars. You know, so Inspector Graham's looking at that, and, you know, we're looking at a strategy where we can get these orders to, you know, make sure that, you know, those are followed. But there is a lot of, you know, on the Sunnydale around that area, Tyndale, Deakins Road, you know, Kathleen Road, you know, there's a lot of, you know, reports of drug dealing and, you know, cars coming and going, and, you know, they're delivering like the milk round. So, you know, that needs to be addressed. And I will email Sergeant Fellows on our side, but, you know, the other side, like, you know, where Sunnymead Road is and Tyndale Road and, you know, those groves off there, I'm getting reports of that as well. So, you know, if you can please have a look at that as well while you're on your rounds.
Yeah, of course, no problem. Yeah, I'll take that away and let the rest of the team know. Mark's back at work today, just so you know, so he will start to pick up some emails and things that you've sent through to him.
Okay, so if there's no more questions for the Sarge, I thank you, Sarge, for coming, and we'll let you go because you obviously got somewhere to be else. So thank you for coming, and we'll look forward to seeing you in the next meeting for an update. Yeah.
No problem. Thank you very much. Obviously, you got my email address, so any
Yeah.
issues, just fire them into me and I'll get back to you.
Cheers. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so the next person on the agenda is John Dunleavy from our housing team, is a manager for our area. So John, can I ask you to come in?
Yes, Councillor. Good evening, everybody. Do you just want me to give a brief update yet?
Yeah, brief update, and then if there's any questions from people, we'll take them, yeah?
Yeah. Since the 23rd of March, it's been business as normal, really. And clearly, we've had the expected increase with people being at home and people not getting out about so much. A lot more things have been reported. So we've had a spike in noise nuisance complaints, domestic abuse. You've all seen the fly tipping. In addition to that, we've sort of allocated extra resources to some of those issues, particularly the domestic abuse issues. And what we've been trying to do as well is, because there are a lot of people, particularly in the sheltered schemes, where the Wendy O'Malley's team have been sort of making sure that people are well, checking on them on a weekly basis. We've been trying to do it for the other blocks as well, that are not shut, the general purpose housing ones, just to make sure that there's nobody out there that we've missed that may need some help. And you quite rightly, Councillor, you mentioned earlier on the food banks. At the moment, we're lucky. We've got probably a list of about 30 agencies who've been helping us, and organisations, sorry, who've been helping us to get out there and make sure people are okay. As I said, we have seen an increase in things like noise nuisance and the type of aggravation cases that normally, we get a few a week, but at the moment, we're getting 2 and 3 a day. But as I said, it's business as usual. We've got obviously, unless it's business critical, we're not going to have to do the visits, but you'll all have seen the cleaners and the caretakers. They're still out there. They're still the first port of call. They're still doing their jobs, as like are the bin men and everybody else. I don't know if there's anything else you want me to update on there.
No, just Bob, do you want to come in about the CCTVs now?
Yeah, all right, Zeph. Right. Yeah. It's just my concern was, I know legally that the CCTV around Pembrey Road and the flats around Pembrey Road had to be decommissioned, but my concern is that they won't be upgraded or they won't be replaced in any way. And I still think they need to be there to give confidence to the people that live around there, because we've got a lot of old and vulnerable people that live in the flats. Yeah, as I say. And it's just basically, that's my concern. I would like to see them either upgraded or replaced.
Okay, thank you, Bob, for that. John, I did write to the Director of Services about this. Obviously, it's not something, but I just want you to make a note of this for when you speak to your senior people, that these are the concerns that the people have said. So I've written already to the place manager, to place director, to give me an update on these, and the cabinet member Sharon Thompson, I've also written to her. And as soon as I get a reply, Bob, I will make sure that all the 3 tower blocks are given an update on that. The other thing, John, is that I've had 3 or 4 calls only this week that home at a house, there are contractors going in and doing non-essential work, and they're not keeping to the social distancing, and they're getting into the lift and on the landings and everywhere. This person rang me and he said, well, what's the point of us keeping to social distancing when these contractors are coming in and they got no regard for that. And the other issue was about the aerial fund on somebody's emailed me just about aerial fund at Coppice House, which I've already sent an email to Mandy and Rachel, I think. So those are the issues, John, that I've come across. Yeah.
Do you want me to come in there on?
Yeah,
I'll do it in from the first one. The CCTV. I agree. It gives people confidence. It makes them feel a bit more secure. Bob's quite right that they were decommissioned. not fit for purpose, and also they didn't meet the legislation. My hand on my heart, I don't know if they're going to be replaced or upgraded. That decision has still got to be made, and clearly a lot of the cameras that have been taken down, CCTV that have been taken down in Birmingham, are not going to be replaced or upgraded. I do not know what's happening there. It's sitting with the team, and I've seen a couple of your emails, Councillor, and I know that they will have to make a decision on that shortly. The other one, the workmen. Now, I'd be really interested to know if that's still happening, because we spoke with their senior manager on Tuesday afternoon, and he assures us that it would stop forthwith. So I would really like to know that from yesterday morning, if there's been any evidence that that's still going on. We were aware of it, we were made aware of it, and clearly it had to go to one of their senior managers. We spoke with him. In fairness, he was horrified because they were telling him a different story, clearly. But I would like to know if it's still continuing, because I'm hoping it stopped yesterday. And what was the last one then? Sorry.
The aerial funding copy.
The aerial funding. Yeah. I looked at that this morning as well. And really, when we get this funding, I know people are going to be disappointed and upset that it's not going to be carried over, but I think Rachel did send you an email. I think the minute we know we've got this any money, not just aerial funding, whether it's the HLB or the environmental budget or whatever it is, we need to get our wish lists in there very, very quickly. Because one thing that we have to do, it's all right, Mandy or me or anybody within the housing team saying, yeah, we'll do this, we'll do that. Before we do anything, we've got to come to you guys to consult with you to make sure that you're happy with it. And clearly in the initial stages, the quicker we do that, the better. Because as we've learned from last year, that sometimes when the things leave us to go to the people who do the projects, they can sit there for 2 and 3 months. And what we want to do, make sure in this financial year, is that doesn't happen. I wasn't here last year when not much of this was going on, but I'm sort of working very closely with Rachel now to make sure that nothing like this happens again.
Yeah, that's the point, John. Last year I said that the money belongs to the residents of Coppice House, and that we should have started early on to give them time to consult and to come up with the same. But unfortunately, when it happened, then COVID-19 came in, and all that sort of stuff, and didn't get. But I have had an email from Mandy this afternoon saying they're working on it, so I'm okay with that. Just another question, I'm sure if Lee's on here, Lee's our HLB representative, he was telling me there was some rubbish on the Berkeley Road, council flats. Somebody had, emptied the flat into the grass area. I wonder if that. Lee, are you on? Is he not on?
He's there.
Is he there? Okay. Anyway, Lee.
Hang on then.
Just give me a minute. I'm trying to see if Lee's on there. Huh?
He's definitely there.
Okay. Lee, can you hear me?
Hello, Councillor.
Oh, can you hear me? Yeah.
Yeah, I can hear you. You'll have to. I'm not very good on these. This is the first I've ever done.
Okay, so the rubbish you were talking about on Berkeley Road.
Yes.
Can you just tell John about that?
Well, John, we've got a problem with this one house or flat, 126, and they keep putting rubbish out. I keep speaking to different people. Derek, I spoke to this week, and Derek said I had to report it through the call centre. The call centre said that it wasn't down to them. I had to go to environmental. Well, Derek's team has been out today and moved the rubbish again. So I don't really know.
Okay. Okay, Lee. See, John, that is the problem. So, it's council flats, council land, and we get this continuous problem. Can somebody look into that, please?
Well, if it's on council land, it depends whether the tenant themselves are responsible for that part of it.
Yeah.
And if the tenant's got a responsibility, you know, quite rightly, we as an organisation aren't going to keep moving some stuff that they're putting there and breaching the tenancy conditions. Sometimes it's not always clear. And, you know, in certain instances, like 126, you know, I'm familiar with 126.
Yeah.
Those sort of instances that, you know, Derek will go out and will move some of the stuff, but all the stuff that was there wasn't just put there by 126. We know that. We know they put some of it, but we know it wasn't all put there. But like most of the ones where it's happening on housing land or housing property, we're sort of feeding in to try and deal with them. Now, normally speaking, that type, if that was just a report of somebody dumping rubbish there, normally they would go through to the hub, the call centre, who would raise a ticket for the estates team. That is the correct procedure. But with this one, I think there's been so many calls on and off over the last couple of years that the right procedure was to notify Derek, and then Derek will obviously liaise.
John, somebody's got their mic on. Lee, can you mute your mic, please? That's it. That's it now. That's why we're going to get echo.
Are we
That's
okay
fine.
now?
That's fine, John. That's
all right.
fine.
Yeah.
Thank
So it is a bit of an issue, but I think sometimes the distinction's got to be drawn between, you know, something that's housing land that somebody's just come and dumped there, but other parts of housing land which form part of a person's property, which is their responsibility. So you do find that there are two different ways of looking at it. But like with that one, Derek, I knew Derek was going to remove it. We've got particular issues, as you know, Councillor, on Millhouse Road.
Yeah.
You know, and that one is the stuff on the highways will get removed, but the stuff that's in the front garden we can't move it.
Yeah.
So we're dealing with it, and there's a way around that.
Yeah.
But we are aware of it, and we do try, even though it's difficult at the moment, and we're still managing to get round to most of the stuff, which I'm a bit surprised, to be honest with you.
Okay, thank you, John, for that. That was really good, helpful. If there's no more questions for John,
If I'd like to come back in here.
Okay,
Let's
Lee,
come back in.
Lee, come in. Yeah.
Just before that, Councillor, can I just say something? It's Bev here. Can we not give out, just to remind everybody, not to give out specific addresses because we are live. So, so you can just give the name of the road, but anything else specific, can you email Councillor Iqbal about it, because it is going out live. Okay, thanks.
Okay, thank you, Bev, for that reminder. Thank you for that. Lee, you want to come in? And don't mention
as I was saying, I've got this dumping of rubbish on a stick that was being done, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And we're trying to get rid of this problem. So we have evidence of doing that. So I've got that. So I just thought I'd say that.
Thank you, Lee, for that. If there's no more questions for John, John, you're welcome to stay, but if you have to get off, you can carry on. Yeah.
Do you mind if I get off? Because I think I might be dealing with something similar to what Craig's dealing with.
No, you carry on, mate.
I've just seen my phone go.
Thank you for your help. Yeah.
Right. Thanks very much. Good night, everybody.
Good night. Okay. Okay. So moving on to the agenda, the next item is we got Sandy, who's from Haymans Foundation Trust, and I'll give Sandy 10 minutes to explain what he does and why he's there and what we're doing, because if I say the same things, I'm sure Sandy will say the same things. So Sandy, can I give it over to you for 10 minutes to explain what Haymans Foundation Trust and Tyseley Energy Park is?
Yeah, thank you, Councillor. Good evening, everybody. Before I start, can I just say, Councillor, the death of Naseem Iqbal has greatly affected me. I didn't know. I met her earlier this year, and I was looking forward to working with her on a number of projects with Red Hill School. And this is really very, very sad that she has left us. You'll be hearing a bit more, I expect, from the Haymills Project Arts in the Yard, which we've been working on with that. But I would just like to record my sorrow for that.
Thank you, sir.
For those of you who don't know, the Haymills Foundation Trust is a charity set up to look after the heritage and history of the Haymills site, particularly the Webster and Horsfall and Latch and Bachelor businesses, which this year are celebrating its 300th anniversary. And you might know that there has been a big exhibition at the Birmingham Museum and Art Gallery, which sadly has had to be closed down. But if you go because of the crisis, but if you go into the website of Webster and Horsfall, you will be able to link in to that exhibition, or in fact to the Birmingham Museums and Art Galleries site, and see the exhibits and hear a little bit about the history of Webster and Horsfall. Also, at the beginning of the year, we invited Councillor Zaffer to be a trustee of the Haymills Foundation Trust, as we get more and more involved in community matters around the Tyseley Energy Park, which is one of the developments of the Webster and Horsfall business. And I thought perhaps what I should do is just give you a brief outline of the projects which are at present being undertaken by Haymills Foundation Trust and Tyseley Energy Park that we think should benefit the local community in Haymills. And the first and the biggest, which I know I've spoken to one or two of you about already, and you have been involved in talking to about, and we need to know how things are going, is the proposal to create an industrial heritage park at Haymills between Tyseley railway station and the Vintage Trains Museum, through the down the Grand Union Canal, through the Ackers Trust, down the Coal Valley to the St Cyprian's Church and Haymills, and to establish a heritage centre at Haymills, which will celebrate the history of the industrial history of Birmingham, and also particularly the contribution that has been made by the industries in Haymills. And that project at the moment is very much under discussion. It's been brought to a halt rather by the COVID outbreak, but we are trying to keep things going. And on that basis, we have the Birmingham University, which is in partnership with Tyseley Energy Park, who have just started to the build of their innovation centre, the Birmingham Energy Innovation Centre, on the Haymills site, behind the Haymills Works, behind Veolia there, which is going to obviously bring a lot of activity, economic activity, academic activity to the area. And Birmingham University with TEP are in the process of putting a bid in to the ERDF for a green infrastructure project to reclaim the valley of the River Cole between Haybarns roundabout and to an extent probably beyond the canal at the Grand Union Canal. And we're hoping that to secure funding to be able to reclaim the green and blue infrastructure of the River Cole there. We're working in partnership with the Environmental Agency and the Canals and River Trust and Ackers Trust, obviously, and one or two other organisations, particularly, of course, Birmingham City Council. And on that, the TEP itself is still trying to expand the activities into alternative energies, making Haymills becoming a centre for the development of the technology and the industry of alternative energies to help with the road to zero of the climate change agenda, bringing the climate obviously bound to a zero carbon by 2030, which we hope is going to happen. And in that respect, Birmingham, we are looking at possibly establishing other businesses around which will have a community aspect to them in terms of things like recharging of electric vehicles, hydrogen vehicles, and other ecologically friendly energy-driven vehicles and things. That project, again, is being led by Birmingham University Energy Institute and the commercial development by Tyseley Energy Park. And then Birmingham University the Hay Mills Foundation Trust are working together to promote the engineering opportunities and the employment opportunities and the training opportunities, the skills training opportunities which the Tyseley Energy Park will present and the businesses on the Tyseley Energy Park will present. We have got a grant from the Ingenious Awards grant from the Academy of Engineering to conduct workshops with schools, with our engineers and with professionals to come into the local schools and talk and encourage young people to take an interest in engineering, particularly when it comes to the green development of the green energy in infrastructure. Also, much more closer to home, of course, Inspired Steps at the beginning of this year with Hay Mills Foundation Trust carried out a survey in Hay Mills to find out what how the community would like to benefit from various developments and the green spaces, if you like, the spaces that are available in Hay Mills. From that, there were 400 replies to that survey, which Gary Clark of Inspired Steps has put into a small brochure, which is available. We were hoping to be able to distribute it at a community day earlier this year, which unfortunately we had to cancel. But from out of that, there is a plan, or that we would like very much to develop the a community centre based on the Memorial Hall and the St Cyprian's Church. And Gary and Arts in the Yard and other organisations come together there in order to bring to design a project which we hope to be able to get funding from various organisations which have already, in fact, expressed an interest in helping us to get that project off the ground. And I think putting a structure into that area will give if you like, a centre point for the community in Hay Mills to be able to take some ownership of local activities and local things that are going on, and have a sense of direction and be able to make things happen, which has always been a great difficulty up to now, because we've not had the official sort of business model, if you like, to make these things happen. That is what is happening there. So that is going on at the present moment. The Environmental Agency on the River Cole habitat improvements is looking at ways of improving the structure of the river at Hay Mills to the River Cole along this valley to make it more efficient, more community, a bit more benefit to the community and less flooding threats coming from that. And the Canal and River Trust are also hoping to develop the towpath from Kings Road down to the Ackers Trust for various community activities. In that, we had hoped that with the Tyseley Energy Park, we can actually access the Tyseley Energy Park from the towpath, but that is something which is still to be decided upon. So those are the various things that are going on at the moment. One of the things we'd like to do, we've actually penciled in the diary the 23rd of September of this year, in the hope that we can come together as a community by that time to conduct another litter pick along the River Cole, have a community event surrounding it in the Memorial Hall at Hay Mills, and to try and bring people up to date in general about all these things that are happening. And we're hoping to have some further news on all these projects which I've been talking about at that event. This will obviously depend on what Boris allows us to do by the 23rd of September, but it is something that we are very keen should happen as soon as we have an opportunity for it to happen. And at the moment, the 23rd of September is the day. So hopefully we'll be able to tell you more about that. I think Sylvia will probably talk to you about the Arts in the Yard project, which Haymills Foundation Trust have also been involved on.
Thank you, Sandy. If people have any questions for Sandy, we can take them. If any hands showing or any chat box showing, no? Okay, we're just trying to give it a minute. Can I thank you, Sandy, for taking the time to come and give us this feedback? And can I thank you and David Horsfall for the work you've been doing for the last 2-3 years with me, and especially the cleanups where, you know, David has generously given his time and his premises and his equipment and his organization. I mean, people who don't know, we've done a community day event last year, which was really successful. We had about 400 people, schools were involved. We had, I think, over 370 people from local Haymills and Acathreen who came to the event. And we were looking forward to this year's event. Unfortunately, it got cancelled due to the coronavirus. So we are hoping to continue all this work. And it's just an update from Sandy. But if people want to know anything more about these projects or want to get involved with the projects, please email me and I will make sure that we put you into the right project. So thank you, Sandy, for that. We'll move on if there's no questions. To the Haymills High Street project, which is Arts in the Yard. So if I can bring in Sylvia to give an update, and Bono is one of the residents on George Road as well. So if Sylvia, you want to come in, and then if you want to bring in Bono to just give us an update on that project, please now.
Sure. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Safa, for the invite. So I'm from Arts in the Yard, the Yardley Arts Forum. So last year, we have started a public arts project in Haymill, and the whole arts project is funded by Birmingham City Council and Active Wellbeing Society as well. So Safa, am I allowed to share some pictures from?
Yes, I don't know whether you can. Can you? Yeah, you can. Go on then, share them. Yeah.
Okay. So, okay, can everyone?
Yeah,
see it?
that's good. That's good.
Okay. Now I can't see my screen now. Okay. Quick check. Are you seeing?
Haymills High Street.
Okay, brilliant.
I can see that as well. We can see you at the bottom as well.
Okay, brilliant. So we call this project as Haymill High Street because when we received this project, we already have a vision to create a piece of public artworks that live in somewhere very visible to the public. And then the first thing in mind we've got, it must be the Coventry Road. So we call it Haymill High Street. So we started the project in September. And so I'm going to share some pictures of what we've got so far. So we are actually, instead of working for one a piece of public artwork, we are actually aiming for 4. So this is the first piece of artwork. So these are metal tile handmade by Year 4 student from the Red Hill School. I need to especially thanks for Naseem, who sadly passed away recently. With her connection, she allowed us to do an artist-led workshop with her student in the school. So each of these tiles are handmade by the student, and we are planning to have each one of these be installed on a wooden planter. And the special thing with this wooden planter, they are made from recycled wood from Webster and Horsford. Again, I need to thank you, Sandy, for making the connection. So these wood are made from the broken down cable wheel, which it happened that Webster and Horsford they do have. And so because these are upcycled wood, it instantly gives some special character onto the planter. And we're aiming to have between 3 to 5 planter to be installed on Coventry Road, outside this stretch of shop. So these planter, we'll be doing some planter adopter call out aiming for local people, shop owner to look after plant, to water it whenever they can. So the other piece of artwork that we're working towards, but it's like an initial idea, which is a giant chalkboard. Because every time I drove past the Coventry Road, these boarding here is very visible, and because we're still in the lockdown, I know some community are already doing it. They put out a positive message in the public space. So it's for this season, I think it will be quite beneficial to our residents. But it is still a concept because we're having some difficulty to get response from the owner. But if we can't do it in the exact location, we're looking to transfer the idea into the pocket parks around. So watch out for pocket park space. The other project, the other outcome that we're working towards is to provide hanging basket for resident in George Road. Now, you might ask why in George Road. So during our consultation period, we've done a lot of street party on George Road, and one of the great initiatives is the residents. They actually enter in bloom this year. They call it George Road in bloom, and because of the coronavirus, they won't be judging this year. But we want to keep the momentum going. So Active Wellbeing Society agreed to let's keep the momentum going and encourage the resident to keep on doing what they're doing, cleaning up the road, putting up plants to brighten the area. So we've done a public call out. We deliver leaflet onto the door. So currently we have 20 responses that they would like to receive a hanging basket from us with plants and soil provided. So do watch out the space on George Road as well. I don't know if any of you noticed this green planter that's been sitting on Coventry Road all these years. So we have our eyes on it, and we actually have started to work on this planter. And I want to let Banu to explain more about the work that her group's been doing. Banu, would you like to come in and explain the work that your group's been working on with this green planter?
Hello everyone, my name is Banu, and thank you so much, Councillor Safar, to invite me for this meeting. Yes, I am a local resident of George Road, and I am quite passionate about bringing a positive change in my local area where my kids will grow up. And for this passion or this spirit, I join almost all the organizations who are working currently for the betterment of hay mill. I am coordinator of hay mill project, and I am working on the planter project, or making a public art for people. And fortunately, we have 10 of the planter is already adopted by the really local people. And we are, I have an organization called Our Team Creative Mind, and I have a small team, and all the ladies are from different backgrounds come together and started work for the planter preparation for the design. We like to put on these eyesores, sorry. But yes, we are in a process already, work 50 hours for these planters, and hardly managed to do only 5 planters ready for the paint. But I think I have received very, very positive response from the local people, local community, and they are quite looking forward to see the planters growing, or if the condition is getting better on the hay mill road, on the hay mill. And yes, I am part of Active Wellbeing, and I am part of Hanging Baskets, and other things as well. I am member of Hearts in the Yard as well, and I think I am working with Sandy, and I am in touch with the Councillor Zafar, and I am really pleased that Councillor Zafar invited me, because sometimes people don't ask direct questions to councillors or other people, where they ask me the direct question, and I don't know the answer of every question. So this is a really good opportunity for me to learn and answer all those queries. Thank you so much for listening to me. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bana. Thank you.
And
Back to you, Sylvia.
Yeah, I want to thank you, because without you being part of this project, I can tell you, like, it won't happen like so smoothly. And I mean, thank you for you have been the connector to the community, like for community that, like, personally I can't reach out, but you can. Thank you so much. So we started to work for about 2 weeks now, and I agree with Bandy. We have received some really positive response. So that day it was really hot. So I went into the shop visiting the lady, and then because it's so hot, I went to the shop next to the planter, and the shopkeeper was really pleased, and he wouldn't charge me a penny to get drinks for this lady. So thank you so much. So if we do need help, because this planter are quite big and there are tens of them. We do need help. You want to get involved to work on the planter, please get in touch with us. I will show my contact detail on the last slide of the show. We have our risk assessment in place. We will provide the PPE, so we won't put anyone in a dangerous position for getting. Yeah, and we'll do as well. So apart from the Hamil Arts project, we do have. We're very lucky enough to receive some more funding to do a project called Grow Yardley. So what it does is we provide some growth pack with instruction that can deliver to your door. That is for anyone that lives in the Yardley constituency. So if it's something that this is what you're interested to do, then get involved. Do email us growyardley@gmail.com. Okay. So thank you for listening. So this is our contact details. artsintheyard@gmail.com. We're also on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram as well. So you want to see other community projects that we're doing, like in Yardley, like do check us out. Thank you. I mean,
Thank you, Sylvia. Thank you so much, Sylvia. And Bana is a local resident as well. Lives in George Road, and she's done tremendously a lot of work with us with cleaning and bringing the ladies involved, getting the people involved. So I'm really grateful for Bana and Sylvia for doing this. One other person I should have thanked was Inspired Step. Gary's not here. He's doing a lot of work and supporting us as well. Is there any questions for Sylvia or Bana, or if people want to know more about the project, they put their details up. If people want to get involved with the project or anyway, I mean, a lot of the people who live in Haymills will know the Commentary Road. I mean, I lived in Geraldine, so, you know, I walk up and down. These planters were, you know, put in by the council about 15, maybe 20 years ago. And they were, you know, they really needed some tidying up and, you know, doing some work. So, you know, I pass them every day. So, you know, the 3 or 4 that we have started work on, they look really neat now. And once we planted the, you know, plants in, and, you know, local families, like Bana said, will adopt them. Some local businesses may adopt them. We're putting in new planters. So, you know, we're hoping that, you know, with Haymills Foundation, Tyseley Energy Park, Arts in the Yard, we work in the area, and we are getting all that, you know, together, and we're hoping to have a community hub. So we're talking to St. Cyprian's Church at the moment. Gary's, you know, Sandy said that we've done that survey. 400 people took part, which was great. So, you know, we're getting there slowly. Hopefully in the next couple of weeks, we will form some kind of a management committee and come up with some proposals, which we will hopefully update in the next meeting. I can't see any hands, or I can't see any chat things going. So just another one that John, I think, raised about HMOs. John Dunleavy is obviously gone, but what I will do, John, is that if you can hear me, I will write about the Pacific. I can't say the address, but the Pacific thing you raised with me in the email, and the other John, and I will write to the officers and get a report on that, and then from there I will let you know what the score is. I mean, just on the HMOs, this morning, on Stockfield Road, we had to object. I mean, me, Councillor O'Shea, Councillor Harmer, the Stockfield Association, we worked on it for the last 3 months, and we had to put in an objection, and we got it declined today at the planning meeting. So, from this Monday, any new HMO that is going up in these roads will have to apply for planning permission. Before there was no legislation, so the council has put in that measure. So there are lots of issues around HMOs. There's one on Berkeley Road East that I constantly get problems with. There's one on Coventry Road, facing the Haymills Social Club, and there were lots and lots of applications for HMOs, which we are objecting to at the moment. But there's a lot of antisocial behaviour. The companies that are given these subcontracts or contracts are not looking after the people. Again, a month ago in Stockfield Road, me and Sergeant Fellows, we had one closed down. So from Monday, hopefully, the new legislation has come in and people will apply to get these HMOs registered. We had one on Kathleen Road the other day where we had problems. So we're getting a lot of problems with HMOs at the moment. But you've given me that address, John, in the email. And what I will do is I will find out which provider it is, or whether it's a private landlord, because the HMOs come in different sort of shapes and forms and sizes, and different organizations run them. So I will get all that information hopefully in the next couple of weeks, and I will pass that on to you. Unless there's any other questions, I can't see anybody else putting their finger. No. Okay. So the last point on the agenda is any other issues that people want to raise with me, or concerns, or anything they want to bring up. They can bring them up now. No. Bano, did you have your hand up? Yeah, I can see Bano's hand up. You can come in and say what you want.
Okay, on George Road, I noticed from the last couple of weeks, actually couple of months, people from the residents, one of the residents put 2 bins on the road, and they never let anybody to park on that side. As far as I know, council doesn't allow these things, and from his example, these things are happening. Like other people adopt his habit, and now most of the people putting 2 bins in front of their homes, so nobody else can park. And I think if somebody or someone can sort this out, because
I will look into that. I mean, there was an issue in one of the properties where there was loud music, and they were parking all over the place and jumping on cars. I went to have a look the other day, but I must admit I didn't see the bins. But I will see if somebody is doing that. If everybody decided to put all their bins out, then obviously there would be nowhere to park. So I'll have a look. I'll walk down and I'll see which properties, and I'll send them. I'll try to get somebody to talk to them. Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much.
Any other people want to raise any questions or queries with me of any issue? Okay, I can't see any hands, or I can't see anything in the chat. So can I just thank everybody for taking part in this meeting. I'm really grateful for people who have joined this meeting for the first time. What we will do is we will hopefully do another meeting. I mean, the way we done this meeting was, we done it like Teams, but the way we're supposed to do it is Teams live, where anybody can come in, and then what happens is you can't interact with us. So you have to type in everything in the chat, and then we answer the questions. But I find this sort of way of doing it much better. But we will have a think about it. We will review all this, and then we will obviously send out invites to people who are here today and other people for the next meeting, which we will arrange hopefully soon. So if there is no more questions, can we see anything? Bev, can you see anything, or is there anything I missed?
No, Councillor, there's nothing. Just to remind people, if there's anyone that you know who's interested in meetings, can you send me an email with or give them my email address and ask them to email me, and I can add it to the contact list, or let Councillor Iqbal know.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Can I again thank Sandy for joining the meeting, and Bano and Sylvia, Sergeant Woolway, and John Dunleavy. And in the next meeting, we will have other people. I'll get other people involved who work in the area, and we'll bring them on board to do the presentation and talk. So there is no other questions, or there's no other hands up. I declare the meeting closed. I think. Thank you very much to everybody.
Councillor Iqbal, just before you go, can I just have a word with you, Pat and Des? Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much to everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Nice. Nice. Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye. Bye.